Hey Saiko! Wanna know if Nintendo struck banana gold with Donkey Kong Bananza, their second major release on the Switch 2? Well, let's review it and find out. As with most Nintendo games, especially of the platformer variety, the story in Donkey Kong Bananza is not very deep. But that's just how I like it. Things start off with Donkey Kong working as a miner bashing up caves looking for bananas. You know, because those underground dirt bananas do taste the best. Life is good when suddenly a little purple rock falls from the sky. It turns out the rock is sentient, and trapped inside is Pauline. Pauline's stuck underground and wants to return home, and Donkey Kong wants more bananas. They're told by an ancient elder that the only way back to the surface is to dig deeper.
How are we gonna get out of here?
We'll dig our way out.
No, dig up, stupid.
Apparently, inside the world's core is an entity that can grant wishes, so if Pauline and Donkey Kong can make it to the core, they can wish to go back up to the surface, and Donkey Kong can wish for more bananas. Of course, things get more complicated when they run into Void Kong and his gang of hoodlums. He's determined to reach the core first and make a wish for world domination. So it's up to Donkey Kong and Pauline to travel deep into the planet in hopes of making it to the core first and stopping Void Kong and his gang. Donkey Kong Bananza has a wide range of gameplay mechanics to keep you interested. From the wild and chaotic environment destruction to mini-game challenges you'll discover scattered around the world. There's plenty to do and plenty of fun to be had in the game. But to keep this video manageable, I'm going to focus on the gameplay elements that stood out the most to me. And that's the Destructible Worlds, Donkey Kong's transformations, and finally, the upgrade system. The bread and butter of Donkey Kong Bananza's gameplay are the Destructible Worlds. It's where the game shines the most. Nintendo is a master at crafting gameplay that feels great, and they flex that muscle to the max with how Donkey Kong plays and controls. Smashing and bashing through the world is fun and exciting, and it has that good game feel that's hard to describe, but you know it when you feel it. The worlds are perfectly designed so it's clear what you can smash and what you can't, and it never feels cheap or limiting when you run into areas you can't destroy. Best of all, there's no limit on how much destruction you can cause. Donkey Kong doesn't have an endurance meter or some break limit. You can crush and destroy basically everything as much as you want for as long as you want. That type of unbounded freedom is often rare in Nintendo games, but it's a welcomed surprise. My only critique is that it's easy to lose track of which direction you're going when you're clobbering deep down into a cave or mountain. Some sort of minimap or an ever-present compass would have been nice. But other than that, the world destruction is great, and Nintendo definitely needs to keep this play mechanic in future Donkey Kong games. It's just too much fun. The transformations in Donkey Kong Bananza are where I think Nintendo had the most missteps. First off, except for the Kong Bananza form, design-wise, they're all ugly. Each form is based off a different animal, and instead of giving Donkey Kong a hint of the other animal, like a pendant or something, they literally just stitch the animal and Kong together like a mad scientist.
It's alive! It's alive! It's alive!
I won't spoil all the forms, but take a look at Ostrich Bananza. It's hideous. I don't know whether it's supposed to be funny or wacky, but it sucks. Donkey Kong's base design is cute and charming, and his Kong Bananza design is cool looking and it looks like he's Super Saiyan. But all the other forms just look weird. I would have preferred it if he still looked like Donkey Kong, but just had a slight accent element that linked him to the new animal. Something subtle but effective. Instead, we got a gorilla with the head of an ostrich. Next, the skills the transformations unlock aren't really that useful. Again, excluding Kong Bananza. That form is great. He's big and quick and hits extra hard. Turning into that form is fun and feels impactful. But the other forms add extra movesets that aren't really that useful for the majority of the game. There are some stages that force you to transform because it requires a specific move, but the majority of the game can be fully played and won with plain old Donkey Kong or his Kong Bananza form. There was only one transformation towards the end that added a unique ability that I thought was pretty cool. That form was actually useful enough that I transformed into it often because it legit changed how I played the game. I wish all the transformations were that effective, but honestly, I kind of wish more that Nintendo dropped the transformation angle entirely and just unlocked new moves for Donkey Kong, or at least the Kong Bananza form. Donkey Kong Bananza has a nice upgrade system. As you play the game, you'll discover large golden bananas. Some you'll find hidden within a mountain or underneath the surface, and others you'll earn as rewards from defeating bosses or completing minigames. Once you've collected 5 bananas, you'll earn a skill point. Your skill points can be used to unlock upgrades for Donkey Kong's base form and even his transformations. You can increase his punching power or unlock new moves. You can also upgrade the unique abilities of his transformations to make them more effective. I really like that Nintendo included an upgrade system in the game. It's a great reward for earning and hunting down bananas. My only critique is that Nintendo did what Nintendo does, and they limited the upgrades to small incremental changes instead of allowing them to make Donkey Kong an overpowered super gorilla. You see, Nintendo is obsessed with the game's balance. They never want to let us gamers have unrestricted fun. They build their worlds, set up their rules, and then never break them. And for the most part, I'm okay with that, but I do wish sometimes they'd just let us go hog wild or ape wild. If I max out an upgrade, I'd like to feel that I gained a legit boost in that attribute. But my Donkey Kong didn't feel all that different at the end of the game, with lots of upgrades applied and a few maxed out, than he did at the start. Maybe something special happens if you max out every attribute. That would be cool, but I doubt it. Nintendo doesn't like to break their rules. That's why even the Master Sword in Breath of the Wild could still run out of energy. I know there was some hullabaloo in certain parts of the interwebs that didn't appreciate Donkey Kong's updated design. But I wasn't part of that group. I like his new look. I think it's expressive and cute and captures the charm and fun found in many of Nintendo's mascots. So to me, Donkey Kong and Donkey Kong Bananza looks great. I also think the world looks really nice, and so do many of the side characters. I feel Pauline's proportions are a little odd, but it's clearly a stylistic choice that matches the overall design well, so I won't knock it. Overall, I think Donkey Kong Bananza looks wonderful and meets the standards I've come to expect in Nintendo games. They focus on style and charm over pushing pixels, and in my opinion, that's the way to go. The only complaint I have is with Donkey Kong's transformations. As I mentioned earlier, most of them are flat out ugly. I really like his Kong Bananza form, but the rest are a weird amalgamation of gorilla cross some animal, and they just look weird or clumsy and not cool. I won't say the transformations ruined the game's visuals, but they were a bit of a buzzkill, as instead of looking forward to how each new form appeared, I simply rolled my eyes at the next monstrosity put before me. When I first started playing Donkey Kong Bananza, I was like a kid in a candy store. I absolutely love bashing through the world. It feels fantastic from a gameplay perspective, and it's a fun mechanic to go hog wild with. But after that feeling dissipated, I found myself bumping up against little issues in the game. For instance, the surfing on a stone mechanic doesn't really feel that great. I'm pretty sure in the majority of cases I could have gotten down a hill quicker by simply walking and smashing rather than using the surf mechanic. It's a bad form of travel because it's both too slippery and too slow to be of any real use. Next, I complained about this in Mario Kart World, and I'm gonna do it again. Nintendo, why can't you give us a mini-map? When smashing deep into a mountain or digging into the ground, it's very easy to get lost or turned around. A little mini-map with cardinal directions and waypoints would have helped me dig in the right direction and would have made things more fun, at least for me. Also, the minecart sections didn't live up to their potential. I recall Donkey Kong Country having some pretty fun and challenging minecart levels, but in Bananza you mostly just ride around in a circle or take one as a means for quicker transportation or navigating over a large gap. I feel there should have been at least one fun and challenging minecart ride. And most disappointing of all are the transformations. Not only were many of them poorly designed, but they didn't feel useful. Only one transformation felt like it actually modified the way I played. The rest felt like an inconvenience I had to endure in order to overcome very specific parts of very specific stages. None of these issues are game destroyers in and of themselves, and I still had a lot of fun playing, but I feel they are bad enough that I do have to consider them when giving my score. Therefore, with these critiques in mind, I'm giving Donkey Kong Bonanza a 3.5 out of 5. The smashing mechanics in Destructible Worlds are fantastic, and I hope they keep Donkey Kong bashing and smashing in future games. However, the missed opportunities in the non-smashing gameplay, along with some missing quality of life features and the lame transformations, keep this game from being truly great. Nintendo is in an interesting spot. They just released the Switch 2, and so far they've only released 2 major first-party titles, Mario Kart World and Donkey Kong Bonanza. And while both games have lots to love about them, in my opinion, none of them live up to their potential. I've never been a huge Donkey Kong fan. Even as a kid, when Donkey Kong Country came out for the Super NES, I wasn't that impressed. I mean, I appreciated its at the time cutting-edge graphics, but the gameplay never really called me. And throughout the years, to me, Donkey Kong was just a mid-Nintendo character. He wasn't that special. I have more affinity towards Yoshi and Kirby than Donkey Kong. So when I first found out that a new Donkey Kong game was going to be a major release for the Switch 2, I wasn't that excited. That is, until I saw some gameplay footage. Watching Donkey Kong Hulk smash his way through an endlessly destructible world looked amazing. For the first time, I was genuinely excited about playing a Donkey Kong game, even more so than Mario Kart World. It seemed like Nintendo had unlocked the code to elevate Donkey Kong's gameplay, much like they did with Mario when he jumped to 3D in Super Mario 64. And from that perspective, I think Nintendo did succeed. This is most definitely the definitive way to play Donkey Kong in an open world game. Punching and smashing the world around him is exactly how he should be played, yet it feels like something was missing. Now don't get me wrong, I enjoyed the game overall, and if you're a Donkey Kong fan in general, I imagine you'll love it. In fact, looking at the average review scores, if Donkey Kong Bonanza looks good to you at all, you'll probably have a great time. I'm definitely the oddball out. But it's only because I expect a lot from Nintendo because they have delivered so often in the past. However, in my opinion, Mario Kart World and Donkey Kong Bonanza have both failed to meet the high standards I place on Nintendo.
I want more.
But I'm still holding out hope for something big, something grand, something Italian. After all, it's been a while since we've gone on a solo adventure with our good friend.